What value does a product designer add in developing your product? Can't you just go and get your idea designed by a factory? Do you really need a product designer at all? Well, this video seeks to give a really quick overview into the value of good product design. Firstly, a product designer will consider cost-effective manufacture of your product. Now, this can only be done really by a senior or an experienced designer, so do think about that when you're choosing who to work with. But someone who's developed products before, right the way from concept through to production, will often have a whole load of knowledge and experience they can bring to your product. A good product designer will also significantly reduce your factory setup costs. We've had people come to us with ideas before, and we've taken one look at them and gone through a whole load of potential changes that actually have taken out the tooling cost altogether or significantly reduced it. And a good product design company will often cost you less money than the difference they've saved you in your tooling. Something else that a good product designer will bring to your product is they will consider your target market in depth, and they will often refine your product offering to ensure that it's more appealing to your target market, which will result in increased sales. It may well be that your product designer adds value to your product and you can charge more for it and therefore make more money. And we often do that by premiumizing products so that perceptually they appear to be worth a lot more and people are prepared to spend more money on them, but we haven't actually added that much in terms of production cost. So that can be some of the value that immediately gets added to a product by a product design company as well. Working with a professional product design company may also mean that your product wins awards or gets better reviews from your customers. And as a result, those things can feed into your marketing strategy, resulting in more sales. Often, if you go directly to a factory, you'll find that your product ends up over-engineered. Often they'll err on the side of caution, and you'll end up with something that may be very robust and functional, and that might work depending on what you're doing, but often it doesn't consider the end user, it doesn't consider the aesthetics and the look and the styling, and it doesn't add value in terms of producing a product that people are prepared to pay more for. Part of the value a product designer will bring to your product is in creating a beautiful aesthetic. Now, this is really critical, particularly in this day and age where a lot of marketing is digital and image-based. If you have a more beautiful product with nicer materials and colors that work better, touch points that the customer really engages with effectively and really likes, that often increases the value of the product considerably. It can improve the marketing very rapidly, and it can stand out against a range of other products more effectively. A good product designer will often question the original premise of the product and initially may well come up with a different solution that you hadn't thought of that solves the same problem but is more cost effective to manufacture, is quicker to develop, or has a greater potential for a range. And a good product designer will take a step back initially, look at your brief, and will then come up with potential other solutions or potentially unique features that you can build in. Now, if because of the product designer's input you end up with something that's patentable, this can have huge value in terms of the patent box tax scheme, which means that corporation tax on profits on that product are 10%. And so they're massively reduced, which can really help your business going forward. And often a good product design company can do that and come up with some new innovation, which is then protectable. Make sure in that scenario that contractually that new intellectual property belongs to you and that you're not having to continue to pay your product design firm some kind of royalty payment going forward. Always check the contract, make sure that you own all the intellectual property, including new ideas that your product designer comes up with. Now, to give you an example, we had a big company who came to us with a range of trimmers and guillotines. They spent 2 years working directly with a Chinese factory trying to develop a new version with a patented blade guard. After 2 years, they realized that what they had was not appropriate for the target market, it didn't work effectively, and it wasn't patentable. This isn't always the case, but in this example, they wish they'd worked with us a couple of years previously because we would have got their new product range to market much more quickly and enabled them to make those additional sales. We did the product in 9 months, but we did the design work and the user research and took their market insight and turned it into a new product range, which has been very successful for them. So that just gives you an overview of some of the added value from using a product designer to develop your concept. There are more in the description below, so do check that out.